Hello everyone, once again, and here we are again, back at the videos. Well, I hope you're all having a wonderful day. You'll have to excuse the voice. I'm still dealing with this wonderful leftovers from the cold that I had, but I guess we can get all around it, right? So I was actually doodling today on my paper, and I was doing a landscape. And so I thought, why not have the YouTube followers join in with me? So what we're going to do is we're going to embark on this nice little landscape with a river and some trees. And actually my favorite thing to do is paint landscapes. Although in watercolor, flowers are a real, probably flowers on the top, and then the landscapes underneath that. I don't know. I love it all. But so let's get right into this. And I won't probably do the whole thing. I don't know. But I had a loon in this one that I thought would be really pretty to do with you and just kind of finish it. I started it already, and we'll see where we go from there. So come on, let's paint together. Okay, so here we are right at the picture here, the painting that I had started. I'm using cold press this morning, and I'm not on a block, so it's kind of trying to pop up here and there, but that's okay. We'll get around all that. So where I left off was what you see. I did the sky, left some area for clouds. I wanted to show a little something about the clouds because I did it so that, you know, in the typical watercolor version, you leave the white spaces. I wanted to show you how, if I had not left white spaces and if I wanted to add some other clouds in there, I'm going to go into my Chinese white here. And I'm going to see if that will, yeah. So see, I can put in, it's not as white as the paper, but then again, it doesn't have to be as white as the paper. I'm going to add a little bit of, oh, I forgot to, well, I'll do that in a minute. But you can go in and, you know, add some more, another clouds in there. And I also want to go into my little bit of, whoops, I ran out of space because I want to add some pinks. I love adding pinks, pink color into my sky. It's so pretty when you get, you know, the little bit of pinks there. Just a little dab of it here and there. I think this is, I don't know, rose madder. I'm not exactly sure which one that is, but that's a little. And as you can see, pink is very strong. So, but that changed the sky a little bit. Not that I wanted to change it a lot, but I wanted to change it a little. All right, so what I'm going to do, I think right now, I'm going to take one of my round brushes. And actually, I wanted to tell you the brushes I use to make some of these trees and things, because this is, these videos are supposed to be beginner friendly that I'm trying to do. I want to make them beginner friendly. I'll try and turn my camera a little bit there. Hopefully that's good. I use this flat brush in making my trees. I will make one with you. I already have some green on my palette, so I'm gonna go in, put a little bit of blue, purple actually. Get it a little darker because I wanted to get some trees over here. So what I'm doing is I'm using the chisel part of this brush. And by the way, I hope you're all having a great day. Hopefully I said that when I first came on. But over here, we're going to, so using the, I'm sorry, I jump from thoughts a lot. It's because I got so many thoughts in my head. All right, so that's a little too much water. We don't want a lot of water in the way I'm doing it. I mean, depending on who's doing it, you might want a lot of water. But for myself right now, I don't want a lot of water on my brush. These trees I want to be like semi in the background, semi close up. So it's kind of like they're, you know, I want them to be defined. I don't want them to be blurry in the background. If I wanted them to be very, you know, real blurry in the background, then I would definitely want a lot of water. But my background is dry, and I'm just using the tip of this brush, and I'm going like this. It's one way to make trees. There's so many ways to do trees, and I just sort of come down with the trunk, and then with the corner of the brush. I don't want to just paint today. I want to tell you some things. With the corner of that brush, I'm going back and forth, back and forth. Let me get a little more, some yellow in there, and I'm going back and forth, and then I'm going to go back to the darker green. And on the left sides of these trees, basically the sun is coming from the top, so it can be, you know, you can have your trees however you want them. You know, the lighting wherever you want them. The light coming from the side, one side or the other. You can have it from the top. You can just depict it however you want. I actually wasn't going to do a painting today, a tutorial today, but it's a rainy day and I don't really have to go out to do anything. I haven't got anything particularly I need to get out there for today. So I thought, why not? Why not do a video? I would be a lot happier if I had a voice, but I've struggled with that today. The rain really does that for me. All right, it's a rainy day. Okay, so we've got some, and we're going to base the trees here, you know, secure the trees with some ground. I'm going to get a little brownish in there as well. Oh, I thought that was brownish. Okay, a little darker underneath there. So we're grounding them. All right, so for now, that's the only amount of trees I really wanted to do. I've drawn out the couple of birds here, and I'm trying to decide whether yeah, okay, so we're going to take the water and trying not to, you know, touch the greens and the other colors that I've already got, trying to go around the birds. You know, as if you can't, you can't, but it'll help if you can. Just go around the birds, because this is all water. So it's water that I'm using, but I mean it's water that I'm going to depict painting. So I'm going to take, I can't remember which blue that is. Anyway, we're going to take this blue. I'm going to go right up to where I have, and I'm going to try at the same time to leave lines, so to speak, in areas. It's okay if I get a little bit of that dark brown there, because I'm going to be doing something else with it anyways. So I'm going to put a little bit darker along those edges there. And plus, not only that, we have yeah, reflections. There we go. So I'm going to get them right in there on that area. I have water. You saw me water the page, so we have a lot of water happening. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put on this water, put it around everywhere, trying to leave like some white areas to indicate, you know, those highlights in the water. And over here on this side, it's a more of a greenish blue, because it's reflecting a lot of the, I'm going to go very carefully and slowly. Water reflects whatever's around it, right? So I'm going to just add this in like this. a fair amount of green that was happening in there. I'm going to make, so put that like that around the birds. Coming over here. And that's not really dark enough, so we need to get over here and get, this side is the shadow side, so it's kind of, you know, showing the shadowy parts. Get some of that sepia there. I mean, Payne's gray. And just sort of add it in like that. I don't want to do too much of that right now. But that is a darker over there. Some greens again. And water, you know, like try to, you know, zigzag your water. Your water's always kind of has this zigzagging, right? And now to get some of the more of the white, I'm going to take the color off my brush, go into the water, wipe that water off, and I'm gonna create my own lines. See, with a bare brush, a damp brush. So I'm taking paint out to do this. You see, you can see how you're taking the paint out. And then it is actually showing, I'm going to get some yellow ochre. Boy, I'm having a hard time here thinking this morning. Well, we all have them. Okay, and then just down, you know, we're going to have some, there's going to be some, marsh, like that is going to be down here. So we're just kind of got that happening here, some greens and some yellow ochre to kind of indicate they are sort of, I mean, they're kind of sitting in the marsh is what they're kind of doing. Whoops, I wanted green and I got the wrong color. All right, so I'm going to come back here and I'm going to darken that up a little because we want it darker on this side. Just kind of being careful going around the, and now I kind of wished I had done the, well, everybody does these things differently, but now I kind of wished I did the birds first, but it wouldn't matter. It doesn't make that much difference. All right, so a lesson in that is you can take the water, go in, take your paint off your brush, dry it on the towel, you know, dab it on the towel. So now you have a nice flat edge. I like to do this anyway to, you know, keep my brushes nice. And that's how you take color out. And you just come in and you pull it out, see? I actually should come back in some of the areas here that don't have the white and darken some of the blues. So we want some of those blues to be darker. And so that the, you know, white areas will stand out. All right, and then of course we have changed my colors a little bit around in my palette. I don't think I should have done that. I was just sort of organizing them a little bit. Oh well. Sort of getting confused with the colors here, but that's all right. No harm, absolutely no foul. Okay, so I have never painted a loon before, but it's the first time for everything. And this ground is going to be darker as well, but I really, for the sake of keeping this tutorial fairly short, I want to get to the loon. So I'm going to get to one of my pointed brushes here, of which I kind of got a little too rough with it the other day when I was, and I also wanted to show you how you could take a very big brush like this, as long as it has this nice pointed tip, and use that as well in some of these fine areas. I sort of like using smaller brushes, but I do like the large one. So we're going to take this large one just so I can show you. Get a little brown and a little purple because they're fur, as you know, is very dark. So we'll get that's more green. So I want to get the sepia, and just to make a real dark color, and then I'm going to dab some of that off. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to try to go around my wet. You should dry this really a little bit first before you get into it, but we're going to come over here. And as you can see, for one thing, use your finger. Use your baby finger like I'm doing for a nice, keep your hands steady, will help. So I got a nice dark color happening here. I mean, there's so many, probably if we, really could look at their colors of what they are, their fur in some sort of close-up, light and microscope, oh boy, we'd probably see all kind of colors. So in that thought, I am going to grab some blue and put that in with this dark color as well, because I'm sure, I have this funny feeling that if we were to do that, we'd find some blue in that color and other colors as well, but it's dark anyways, like black. And I don't use black. I'm one of the ones that doesn't care that much for the just black, because I love the combination of many colors. So you see how that beautiful tip is going around. You'll have to do a close-up to be able to see how this beautiful brush went right around that white yellow circle I made for the eye. These brushes here, I absolutely love these ones. These are Transin. This is a size 16. Just a minute here. I wanted to find my place. Okay. And so we're going to keep going on with this. I need to get a little more. Oh, I keep grabbing the green, and the green is not what I want to grab, but I can utilize it to do this. I'll just add some purple in there and get some of that blue. I wanted to get some of that blue again. So I have a real dark color here. And watercolor dries light, so you may find that what you thought was really dark by the time it's dried isn't. So you just go over it again, which I'm doing here, and I am balancing my hand because my hands are not the most steady things in the world. Not anymore. They used to be, but not so much anymore. So we're going to come down and continue to just kind of work at his beautiful, beautiful fur here. I'm going to actually add a little more brown in that, because I don't want it to be green. I don't want it on the green side. But you see why I love painting with this brush? I could do big areas, or I can just do these really fine areas. Amazing. Just come down here and outline a little bit of his body just so that I know where I'm at. And this here's just some more of that beautiful fur that he has. And they have these squiggly lines there on that other part. Excuse me. Now you can see up here I left that little area of white. I left this little area of white. And that's what you should do. If you forget and you don't, it's no harm, no foul. It took me a long time to get, boy, I hope I'm going to be able to have my voice here. Excuse me. Very much excuse me. I didn't know my voice was going to crap out here. All right, I got to get back to this. So we're just using this real fine tip here to kind of, this is a little darker than what I wanted. I wanted this to be more watered down under here and here. So I'm going to go in, take that paint off my brush. just underneath their body, they have, you know, some coloring going on. There's some brownish in there. I watered it so that it will spread. So we just want to have some spreading. And then little lines of color up there. But the front, this front of him, try to get most of that color off so I can take color out. Okay. And it's kind of like a cross between a gray and a brown that he's got on different parts of his body. So I'm just trying to sort of depict that. You can, you know, do these things however you want to do these things. I've really never done a painting of a loon. We have loons all around here. Beautiful. So beautiful to hear them. And some purple. I'm trying to get this real dark again. And kind of, well, that's a little more purple than we want. Add a little blue into all that, and we should get some dark again. Okay. So, yeah, I'm just sort of painting a little area that's a bit darker than everything else, and sort of taking some paint out and putting it back in, kind of in these darker areas here, shadow areas. And so this is not, you know, we're not doing a photo here. It's a painting. So, you know, it's not going to be a perfect looking thing. It's going to be, it's going to be a painting. So what I'm going to do for the rest of this here is, in order to do this is a little hard and it's kind of time consuming. So I'm going to just sort of water down his wings. Just go through it and water it down because I'm going to have to use I often incorporate, what do you call it? Acrylic into my watercolor as well. So I'm pretty sure that what I'm going to do here is use my watercolor white. So I'm going to get his interesting colors. All right, so we want this to kind of be dark here. This whole rest of the wing over here, this is all dark. And it has white like shapes on it. So I'm going to just paint it like this first, just to get the color underneath, this coloring underneath. See how beautiful this brush works? There we go. So, although it still needs to be much darker, let's get some darker color going on here. I don't want it too green, like I said. Let's get a little red. Just trying to get some colors all together here to end up with a nice dark color that's rather mixed with other colors. Well, that's pretty. That'll work. Okay. Okay, so we're just gonna very carefully just put this in. I don't have very much of my Payne's gray left, so I'm trying to be very sparingly, although that's the color I really need to make the blackish. So I'm just sort of dabbing it in here to make it appear like fur. When I do fur, it's more of a dabbing for me than it is a brush on. All right. And actually, we need this right here to be a bit darker. Okay, so we've got that part. We've got that. And then his part of his wing there. I don't think I'm going to be a very good loon painter, but anyway, for well, at least going this fast, I'd have to take my time and do a lot of different. All right, so I've got all that, and I'm going to go into my white, acrylic white, because actually that's not my acrylic white, but we'll see if that works. And what it is it's these white sort of little circles. Try the acrylic. And they're lines of these little white dots. A little tinier, but they're spreading because it's wet. If you're doing the thing yourself, you can wait until the what you've got painted is dry. That would be the better thing, but I don't have time. We're not going to wait for that. But if you'd like to see smaller dots, you just wait till it's dry, and you'll be able to get smaller dots. So we just continue to do these. This is just a depiction of a loon. So nothing, we're not going to get super intricate and involved. But I like the acrylic because it really shows up, So there we go. We're going to add that to the beak up there. And I'm really not, oh, well, the only other thing is we've got to, on this part of these larger dots or whatever for his fur. So that's all I'm doing there. And that was using the acrylic white. I guess I won't get to the other parts of this much, so we're just mostly doing I'm doing the highlights here. So we got a little under his chin. This part of his body is getting more of the sun, so it's a little lighter. And if you want to do as much as, that, you can go on top of on this part here. Give him a little bit of highlight to his fur on the top. And I'll do the other one off camera because that's very time consuming. But that's, pretty close. Pretty good. And then his eye is red. So we're just going to, with the very tip of this, with a very steady hand, I'm going to put in the red eye. It's actually like a red orange. I should have, see if I can incorporate a little bit of orange. It's more like no, okay, that's good enough. I don't want to mess it up. But that's my my loon in this particular painting. And then what we have, I'm going to take some yellow ochre and some of this brown that I had. And down here are the, marshland. A little water on the brush. Sorry, hit the camera. And just sort of flicking it. I'm going to get a little of the dark as well. Flicking. May have to go to a smaller brush. You very barely touch the paper with these big ones. You just very carefully and just barely touching. Get some ground. So, this is supposed to be, we're heading towards the marsh there. So we've got I'm going to put two things together here. Burnt sienna and yellow ochre. No, I'm not going to use this brush for this. It's just not doing what I want it to do. So, get the smaller round one. And sort of, that's a little more of how I wanted it. I wasn't getting the effect I wanted with that big one. And this is how I paint. So when you do your own painting, of course, you can do it however you want to do it, right? Because then it will be your painting. And I'm going to take some reds. You can also, even though you may not see a particular color in your reference photo, you can add whatever you want. It's your painting. Just wanted to get some lighter. Yeah, I'm going to add those in there. And then off to the side here was also some, mix it with some greens actually. Some of this paint's drying up on me. It's okay, we'll just keep going. I don't want this to be too long, as I said. So we've got some dark brown grasses, and we've got some yellowy grasses, and we've got some red colored grasses, and so you can just do whatever you want. But again, I'm using the very tip and I'm flicking so that I get thin ones, thick ones, you know. Vary the pressure on your brush. We got to put some dark for grounding, you know, so it's not floating in midair. All those little things. Kind of running out of space here. And some light yellows. Not cooperating. There we go. The other one the other loon I was gonna make hide in the grass, but I think we're not gonna bother with that in this tutorial. We're just gonna finish it up with some red, with a few little nuances here and there. I like the reds. I like the reds coming through. And so also with this flat brush down here would be a bit, well, kind of darker. Should have done that before but you're coming towards the marsh, so the water is going to have some brownish colors and darker colors. So I'm just going to add that in here and there. The only other, let's see, how long is this one gone? I've been in slow mode this week for some reason. But the only other thing I'm going to do with this is up here, I'm going to make this darker, this part of this land darker. And add some brown in there. Really darken this up quite a bit. For this land in the back here. Excuse me. A very simple painting of a nice, pretty loon. Using the tip of your brush the chisel part of the brush can accomplish quite a bit. So there's many things we can do with this painting. Or I could do with this painting, but for now, excuse me, and because I'm seeming not to have a voice, the other thing is we're going to add some white to make it look like there are levels of, what do you call it, mist or fog. So we just have it kind of wet and just sort of in between the layers of the green. I'm indicating that there's fog and that there's some light poking into some of these areas. So I think for now, and especially for the sake of the length of this video, The other thing I'm going to do up here is add a couple more trees coming forward. You layer things, right? I've got these, so we want to make it look like there's some in front of it. So I'm just going to go over the ones I've already put down, adding some different greens in, using the tip and the corner of my brush, and adding lines also to kind of in the background, which would indicate more trees. So you can make it as sparse looking or as, busy looking as you want. The trees in the background, you want to be, faded. You just want to be a blurriness, like, because they're in the very background and you're not seeing them because of that. The only other thing I'm going to add to this to finish it off, which I always like to do with my landscapes, is the tip of my smaller brush here. Some birds flying up above. Yeah, you gotta have the birds, I usually put 3 in there. Today, I'm gonna do a 4th one. So, and if I was going to continue on in this, I would darken areas. See, we need to darken some places, but I need to make these tutorials short. So you got a good indication anyway of, how to, one way, right, to do a beautiful loon, and there's a zillion ways. So you'll pick out your ways as well. Pretty much that's all I wanted to do. I got to finish the loon here and probably add a few more doodads, and I got to add some, well, what I can do quickly is, just for the sake of it, if we wanted to add branches, I'm going to take the smallest of my brushes, and I'm going to come over here, and with the tip and the very light pressure, we want branches, right? So we just set it down the tip and wiggle the branches, and I got to get a little bit of darker onto the back sides of the trees, which would be the shadow. So over what I've done here and there, I'm going to add some of this darker color that I'm making the branches with. So we're just going to, stick in some branches. We don't have to, but I mean, it kind of looks a little more authentic if we do. So just, make a dot. You can make the branches a little thicker, which I just did there in the front, or very super light pressure and cause them to be a lot skinnier. Now we can take one of the trees and we can make the branch come right across the other trees, crisscross them, go right up to the sky, just, now you see how, there we go. We have the branches of that tree, which makes it look a little more like a tree and not something just kind of stuck there for no purpose. I mean, you want to have purpose, harmony, all that kind of thing. In doing that, you use the same colors as what you have in your painting. We used reds and blues and greens in everything, and yellows. And I incorporated them. A lot of my color mixing or blending of colors, which people seem to always be asking me, how did you get this blend or that blend? It's happening right on my palette. I don't pick up the colors very much when I'm painting, unless I absolutely have to. And I just keep blending on my palette. For instance, as you can see, it's just bunches of colors all blended on there. I might have to wipe something off, but usually I just find a color of a blend or add to it or take out and put in right there, and then apply them to the paper. And I don't know, it seems to be something that people kind of have found that they like. So I go with it. Plus I like it. So, okay, folks, well, hope you enjoyed this. I'd love to see some of your paintings that you paint. Rewind, fast forward, zoom in, zoom out, slow down, whatever you have to do to watch different strokes and so forth as I painted. So try it out, let me know, and have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.